Welcome to Campus Connect on Morris Educational Television. I'm Ed Yaw, President of County College of Morris. I'm pleased to host today's program sponsored by the Morris Area Consortium for Local Educational Television, a cooperative effort by Morris County schools, colleges, and public libraries to bring you information on key issues in education. On today's program, we will talk about higher education with the President of Sussex County Community College, Dr. Paul Mazur. Dr. Mazur became the 5th president of Sussex County Community College in February of 2011. Welcome, Paul. It's really delightful to have you here today.
Nice to be here, Ed. Really nice to be here.
So before we talk about the college, and I know you have lots to talk about there, let's talk about you a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to arrive in Newton, New Jersey.
I like to say that my educational background and my pathway here has not been all that linear. I didn't start into community colleges till I was around 39 years old. Prior to that, I had done a number of other kinds of things, including running a nonprofit organization in Chicago. And in 1987, I had been working at a couple of Catholic parishes up in Minnesota when I needed some extra cash. Mm-hmm. And a friend of mine, I was one of the founders of Veterans for Peace in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. One of my friends who was a part of that group taught at North Hennepin Community College, and he thought they needed a political science instructor. So I went out there and interviewed for the job. They hired me on the spot, had no idea what the community college movement was about. Got into the classroom for the first quarter, and during that first quarter found out that I liked teaching and that I was fairly good at it. Although I have to tell you that a couple of students came up to me after the final exam the first quarter and said to me, you know, Mr. Mazur, you're not so bad, but man, you got to lighten up. So I reworked what I was doing, figured out who the community college students were, and changed my whole method of teaching and whatever, and kept experimenting with teaching after that. I got very active in the faculty association, both at the local level and at the state level. Eventually becoming the lobbyist for the Community College Faculty Association, mm-hmm. which I did for several years. Managed to take a sabbatical and worked in a U.S. Senator's office in Washington, D.C. for a mm-hmm. year, and did a number of other things. And then in 1999, I was asked by the president to become the dean for liberal arts, mm-hmm. and that was a wrenching decision because I had just started working on a mid-career doctorate mm-hmm. Just for my own personal edification, mm-hmm. and but when Ann asked me to become dean, I thought about it seriously, and I said, yeah, I'll try that out. Mm-hmm. When I became a dean, discovered that I liked administration, mm-hmm. and I liked not knowing what was going to happen to me each day when I walked into mm-hmm. work.
Yes.
And stuck with that and worked on my doctorate while I was a dean, finished that in 6 or 7 years, and then decided to move on and became vice president for academic and student affairs at Adirondack Community College, mm-hmm. And served up there for 5 years, and this presidency came along and I decided to take it. I should just say too, you know, that my previous experience to working in a community college was all relevant to what I have been doing mm-hmm. in a community college. I mentioned that I had been a director of a nonprofit organization, mm-hmm. and it was a small place. I only had 7 staff members, a $350,000 right. budget. So you do everything yourself. You do the finances, you do all that sort of thing. But even prior to that, I had been doing. I had been director of the Catholic Peace Movement mm-hmm. for mm-hmm. a while, and had worked in a couple of Catholic parishes as a social ministry coordinator, mm-hmm. which allowed me to work with a lot of the kinds of people that come to community
sure,
colleges.
Sure.
And so, as you think back on this, it's been a very eventful kind kind of experience.
Well, that's a wonderful and diverse background, and I seem to remember from previous conversations that you had strong language background as well.
Well, I do. You know, I started my educational experience in a Catholic seminary in central Pennsylvania, and was 6.5 years in the seminary. I left during the novitiate period as a Franciscan seminary, and so I had 6 years of Latin and studied French and Spanish and so on. When I left the seminary, I actually taught 3rd and 4th grade at a Polish Catholic school in Pittsburgh for 6 months, and then enlisted in the Air Force, at which time they sent me to Syracuse University for Russian language training. And I've always considered Russian my second language going forward. When I got out of the Air Force, I went to the University of Pittsburgh and got my bachelor's degree in political science, and then went to Johns Hopkins University for my master's in international affairs, and then started doing some other things, and then later in life decided to do my doctorate. And at the time that I was doing my doctorate, I was actually exploring doing it at a European university in Wales, in fact, which is the oldest school of international affairs in the country, in the world. But since I already had a job, it was going to be very difficult to do that kind of distance thing for me, and I felt I needed the discipline. So a local, the oldest private college in Minnesota, Hamlin University, had just begun a public administration program, doctorate degree program, and I decided to go into that, and was the only student at the time that they allowed to do a doctoral dissertation on an international theme, and so I did mine on the intersection of politics and economic development in Russia.
Right. So again, what a wonderful and diverse background, and as you said, you dealt with a lot of the kinds of students that we have, both traditional age, I guess, and adult students, dealing with your nonprofit experience, and of course the lobbying experience comes in handy. I'm sure as a nonprofit you're involved in fundraising as well, and those are all part of the job description, I guess, of college presidents in these times.
That's exactly right. And I think the work that I've had with the students, I mean, once I got into the community colleges, these students reminded me of myself. Had I not gone into the seminary, I really don't know where I would have ended up, because my family was not, I'm a first-generation college graduate, and none of my sisters have gone to college or anything like that. My mother never graduated high school. My father graduated from Knight High School at the time, and so I had no models, role models. Except for the fact that I went to the seminary where there were well-educated men teaching in those classes. And many of the students that we have in the community colleges that we're getting are these first-generation types of students who come out of very similar backgrounds to myself, and I felt very much at home with this type of student.
Well, that's great. And again, a great background in preparation for this important job that you have at Sussex. When we return from our break, we'll talk more about Sussex County Community College. Please stay with us. Welcome back to Campus Connect. I'm your host, Ed Yaw, and today we're talking with Dr. Paul Mazur, President of Sussex County Community College. Again, wonderful conversation about your background and what brought you to Sussex County Community College. Let's talk a little bit about the college, a little bit about the history. It's one of the relatively newer community colleges in the state, and what your current conditions are.
Actually, it's when you think about it, it's probably one of the newer colleges in the country. The heyday of community colleges in terms of development was actually in the 60s and into the early 70s. So this college began around 1982, is when they first opened their doors, and so it's been around for about 30 years. The college primarily, so this particular college primarily serves it's the residents of its county, and I call it the service area. We go a little bit into Pennsylvania, and a couple of students from New York. We don't have very many international students. But the bulk of the students are traditional age students, which is actually kind of unusual in my experience in community colleges. At the community college that I served out in Minnesota, 66% of our students were non-traditional students, that is over the age of 25. And so this one's a little bit different in that respect. But we still have a fair share of non-traditional students coming here, re-entry women and so on, who are coming back to get some kind of college degree so that they can move on.
And just talk a little bit about the programs that are offered by the college. I know that community colleges are famous for diverse programs that we have.
Right. One of the, like all community colleges, we have a fair number of programs. I believe we have 18 programs. Our biggest program, of course, is the liberal arts program. About half of our students actually graduate with an AA degree. We have another number of programs that we offer AS degrees, business, graphic design, and so on. Then we have some AAS degrees, Associate Applied Science, and those degrees are we have an auto tech program and things like that. They're much more job focused and job oriented in terms of getting on. But most of our students actually do transfer, whether they actually get their degree or not. They actually transfer out. Right. So we have a number of those, and we have some certificate programs. The one thing that I'm doing is I've been encouraging alternative kinds of programming, and one of the new programs that we have is an Associate Applied Science in Criminal Justice for mid-career law enforcement professionals. Great. And we're going to be granting credit for prior learning to help these guys get the degree so that they can be promoted and be able to move on wherever they need to.
That's terrific. Actually, we have a little video, promotional video, that we'd like to show our audience right now, so perhaps we could take a look at that and then come back and comment on that as well.
Sure, sounds good.
I came to Sussex about 2 years ago from Newton High School. We came to Sussex County Community College, we walked around the campus and went to the open house, and I was very impressed by the campus and what they had to offer, so I decided to come to Sussex County Community College.
I was overwhelmed with how many different activities that were available for us, but I snatched up all the opportunities I could, and everything I've done it's been awesome.
They don't just come here and leave. Our students are very involved. You can see by the amount of clubs and activities that we offer and have that our students are never bored.
We have faculty who are totally dedicated to the success of their students.
It's a way to, to be able to give back and to make a difference. I think that's really why we're here. And that's why most of us teach, is because we want to make a difference. We want to make a difference to those people that need us the most. And that's why we do it.
It really helped me in terms of just becoming a new individual or learning more about myself and just meeting new different types of people being around this campus.
It would be a great opportunity for me to go to school over here. So I took my placement test this summer and now I'm taking classes and I'm really excited about it.
We strive to make our courses as rigorous and as complete as any course they would get at any other four-year institutions.
To come here and complete your requirements, your basic general education, is a wonderful thing, and it's a real cost saver for families, especially in this day and age.
One friend's racked up about $20,000, and I have another friend who's racked up over $50,000 in debt, and they were all bragging about going away, and now I'm actually on top of debt-free, and I'll be graduating with 2 majors.
One of the big reasons why I chose Sussex was because it was affordable. And in comparing it to some of the other colleges, the price was definitely less. Plus, it was just close to home and easy to get to. And then on top of that, the first time I visited Sussex, I felt like the staff there were just very helpful, and I got a really good, friendly impression from everybody that I met on campus.
I would certainly say one reason why a student would want to attend Sussex County Community College is because of the tight-knit community that we have here. When you come to our college, you are going to find faculty that want to be with students, that will take the time to sit down and focus one-on-one with issues or problems that students may be having in class, or even to just chat, to talk to them about how important college involvement is. it really embodies community.
It was just really nice to know I had that individual time to get to know my professors and really help me learn and keep me going in the right direction.
They always made themselves available to you. If you had any questions, I was never embarrassed to ask a question. I never felt that they were judging me or that I wasn't paying attention. It was just genuine concern. They wanted me to succeed.
I sat there in a room of 200 students and I was lost. And if I had to ask a question, there was no way I was going to be able to survive. I needed that 30-person classroom where I could stick my hand in the air and go, help me. And that's what we give our students. I think that's what I bring from my undergraduate experience here, is that we like our students to sort of wander up, knock on the door and go, can you help me? That's probably the best experience we have here.
I earned my associate's degree in just 2 years, and that enabled me to move forward onto Ramapo College of New Jersey, where I earned my bachelor's degree, and now I'm going forward in my career.
We appreciate your taking the time to learn about Sussex County Community College. We are proud of our tradition of offering a quality, affordable education in a caring environment. Our staff and faculty will take the time to get to know you and your unique needs. We will provide you with opportunities to learn and grow through hundreds of events and activities that take place on campus. Whether your goal is to transfer to a four-year institution or gain employment, we are committed to helping you succeed. I look forward to welcoming you to campus.
That was a terrific video. I truly enjoyed that, and congratulations to your folks for putting that together.
Thanks.
When Campus Connect returns, Dr. Mazur and I will discuss some of the important issues in community colleges and higher education. Please stay with us.
Hey Roberta, it's Kathy. I found a great place that you have to check out right off Route 10 in Randolph.
What is it?
It's the Women's Center at CCM.
The Women's Center at County College of Morris?
That's right. It's a fantastic place located right at the County College of Morris. They do a variety of things to help you become independent.
Like what?
They helped me to identify my job skills and helped me with my resume. They have current job market information too. I even went through a mock interview. I'm working now with someone to help me find a job with a future.
That sounds great for you, Kathy, but I haven't worked for years. I've been home with the kids.
Roberta, they specialize in helping women who have lost the support of their spouse, and you work with someone one-on-one.
I don't know. I mean, you know me. I don't even know the first thing about computers. Forget about a resume.
They have one-on-one help to teach you about computers. They also have a legal clinic that can help you get valuable information regarding your divorce. They do a variety of things to help you get back into the workforce. They even have a job club open to any woman looking for work.
How much does it cost?
The advice is free.
Free?
That's right, free.
Okay, what do I do?
Just call 973-328-5025 for an appointment, and they'll tell you more.
Welcome back to Campus Connect. Once again, I'm your host, Ed Yaw, and I'm joined by the president of Sussex County Community College, Dr. Paul Mazur, who has dedicated himself to community college mission and the promotion of lifelong learning, serving as a teacher, administrator, and lobbyist for higher education since 1987. Again, that was a terrific video that we just had a chance to look at, and we've had a chance to talk about your background, the college, the diversity of your programs. Let's talk a little bit about students.
Sure.
What's your enrollment look like? How is it changing? What are your observations?
Right. Well, we had a terrific downturn in enrollment this past year, and the reason, part of the reason is obvious. That is that the high school enrollments are starting to go down in the area. And since we're heavily dependent on the traditional age student, that's part of the explanation. Part of it is also that the economy is still in a funk, and as we've students are finding it more difficult to pay the tuition out of pocket, basically. It's kind of interesting because in my experience, whenever there's been a downturn in the economy, there's been an upturn in enrollments at the community colleges. This downturn is different because of the length of time that it's lasted, and I think it's now caught up with a lot of people, and I think that's where we are.
Yeah. I think that's a good observation, and I think we've seen the same thing happening again, declining enrollments in the public schools, but also so many of our students find it necessary to work that whereas they may normally be going full-time now, they find themselves going part-time just so they can get more hours in. And I think your observation about this recession, if that's what we call it, lasting so long is probably one of the major factors that's affecting that.
And you make a good point, because one of the things that we saw this past year was a major increase in the number of part-time credits that are being taken. In other words, students who might normally have taken full-time are now going part-time. And that has an impact on the finances of the college as well.
And I suspect you've probably also seen, as we have, a significant increase in the number of students who are applying for financial aid.
Yes.
I think in our case we probably doubled in the last couple of years the number of FAFSAs that are being processed by our financial aid office.
Yeah, we've seen a rise in that as well for that reason.
And what is the total enrollment of the college at this point?
This past year we had about 3,700 in the fall, 3,790 in the fall. And we've projected another decline given the high school graduation rates for this coming year, but that's about where we are in terms of numbers of students. The number of credits sold went down a little bit more than that. We went down from around 42 or so down to about 37, you know, in that area.
Right. Again, with fewer full-time students and more part-time students, that's what's going to happen. That's been our experience here at CCM as well. And again, the diversity of the students, I'm sure, reflects the diversity of your county.
Right, and there, you know, Sussex County is not a very diverse county, but we do have some diversity there, and I think the biggest diversity is that we generally have more women students than we do men students, you know, that sort of thing. And I think that's a trend that's national.
Right. And you also have, we didn't get into this before, but I think you do have a cooperative relationship with other community colleges, for example, in the nursing area.
Right, we do. Passaic County Community College operates the nursing program on our campus. We generally have between 20 and 30 students in each of the cohorts that we bring through that. And that's a very competitive program to get into because there are so few seats. And part of the reason for having so few seats is that you have to partner with the hospitals and other agencies for clinicals. And the clinical training is, those are very small numbers in each section, and so it's very difficult to find the agencies that you can have enough students to be able to go into that.
Right, absolutely. One of the hot topics right now in higher education generally, and certainly among those of us in community colleges, is the whole area of distance learning and online courses. Tell us a little bit about what Sussex County Community College is doing in that arena.
I got to tell you, I've been pressing online education now for about 10 years. I started at North Hennepin when I became a Dean of Liberal Arts. Curiously enough, I had to be pushed into it, and it was my philosophy professor who pushed me into it. I used to accuse him of just wanting to teach off his boat down in Florida, but I didn't know much about it at the time. And then as I got into it, I realized this was going to be an important addendum to the way in which we offer classes in community colleges, especially when you have so many part-time students who can't actually get the class because of their jobs. And so if you have online courses available, they can take those online courses in addition to whatever courses they can fit in an in-face environment, and you know, be able to work on them at midnight after their kids are in bed or that sort of thing. And but in addition to that, I think it's important to have online courses that are part of a program. I think we're about one course short of actually having enough courses for an entire associate arts degree online. And but I've been talking to the faculty about that, and I think we're moving forward on it. I do think that this is going to be a critical area because I don't quite know where it's going. You know, there are these national things that we've been reading about with this connection between Harvard and MIT, for example, putting some $60 million behind this kind of development, and then offering these classes free with some kind of certification for them. So I think there are going to be some challenges ahead if we don't get into the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is moving and starting to move even more quickly. I think David Brooks in his recent article called it the next tsunami in higher education is the online component. And it is a very, in some ways, controversial issue because again, one of the functions of higher education generally is the socialization and maturation of students. Although, like yourself, I always tell our students we have everything here except the dorms. So the socialization is a little different here than it would be in a four-year college where residence halls are involved. But again, even in residential colleges, I think we're seeing many more online courses and hybrid courses. I imagine you're offering some blended courses where faculty are using technology in the classroom to supplement what they're doing on a day-to-day basis.
Right, we have a fair number of those as well. The other area that there's some big national agendas that we're trying to meet as well in community colleges, and one of them is the completion agenda. The idea of the completion agenda is that everybody in the country should have a minimum of 30 credits complete, 30 college credits, which is 1 year of college. Community colleges traditionally have low graduation rates. That's a little deceptive because part of a fair number of our students transfer without a degree. But having said all of that, the question is how do we help success of students and how do we help develop the completion agenda? One of the other things that I'm advocating for is granting more credit for prior learning. Even when I think of 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds, you know, when I think of them working in a Starbucks, for example, you know, they've learned how to use the cash register. They know customer service relations. You know, you can think of some credits around those kinds of things that would help them out.
Some kind of a training program. Well, that's great, and that's again another area that we're all looking at very carefully going forward. That wraps up this edition of Campus Connect. Thank you, Paul, for joining me today to discuss Sussex County Community College and some of the issues facing community colleges. For more information about Sussex County Community College, please visit their website at sussex.edu. For more information about the County College of Morris, we welcome you to visit us at ccm.edu. I'd like to know your thoughts about today's program and ask you to share your comments and thoughts with me. You can write to me, Ed Yaw at County College of Morris, 214 Center Grove Road, Randolph, New Jersey, 07869, or email me at eyaw@ccm.edu. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Ed Yaw, and we'll see you again next time on Campus Connect on Morris Educational Television.